Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Steve and Bobby Show. My name is Steve Williams. We are filming again in the wonderful Fresno, California, at Mad Talk TV studios here in Fresno. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in to show number, help me producer, 42. 42. Okay, Pete, appreciate you, man. So we're at show number 42, moving forward. So check this out. Now, look, I don't make qualms of the idea that I'm not a somewhat partisan individual, okay? I'm not sitting here telling you this is an opinion show. The Steve and Bobby Show is an opinion show, and I'm a liberal. But it doesn't mean that we can't have consensus on some ideas that I think both sides can kind of relate to. So let me kind of trying to tell you where I'm going with this, okay? So you kind of understand what I'm saying. So basically, Republicans and Democrats, right? And even some libertarians have this idea, this different viewpoint on immigration, okay? It's the idea of the left that we shouldn't treat immigrants harsh. It's not right. We are a land of immigrants. All immigrants should be able to come in. At least that's what a large portion of the left thinks, right? A large portion of this new right believes basically the opposite, right? So, you know, the opposite of having some issue of how to deal with the border is just keep everybody out, right? Let's build this wall. And I'm talking about now, the border situation of now and how most people in the right now, in the ultra right area right now, because that's who's in power, how they view immigration. Immigration is one, and then let's talk about libertarians. Libertarians are somewhat in the middle, right? Libertarians have this viewpoint where there's an even consensus of where the left and the right is, right? So I'm going to shock some people today. I actually have somewhat of a libertarian type of viewpoint, which was at one point a conservative viewpoint, but it's something that we can have we can come together on. And I think immigration is one of those things that we can have a bipartisan viewpoint of immigration. Now, first of all, before I get into to what I'm talking about here, I want to first let you listen to Ronald Reagan. Now, Ronald Reagan, if anybody knows who Ronald Reagan is, if you're too young to know who Ronald Reagan is considered the birth of conservatism in the United States. And what I mean is in the birth of conservatism, not the ideas of conservatism, but the conservatism that held actual power here in the United States, okay? He is the modern conservatism party. He believes in the trickle-down economy. He believed in corporate rights. He believed in all these things that we're battling on the left against, right? And that we feel that is an issue and a problem, right? But there is one thing of Ronald Reagan that I agree with. And I want you to listen to Ronald Reagan. This was Ronald Reagan, I think, back in 1986 when he was discussing, I think he was at a campaign rally when he was talking about, he wasn't at a campaign rally. He was actually in Germany, in Berlin, talking about walls. Take a listen.
We welcome change and openness, for we believe that freedom and security go together, that the advance of human liberty can only strengthen the cause of world peace. There is one sign the Soviets can make that would be unmistakable, that would advance dramatically the cause of freedom and peace. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
I find it absolutely amazing where we're at today. You're talking about Ronald Reagan, the birth of conservatism within our governmental system, talking about breaking walls. And Ronald Reagan, this was back in the 1980s, when West and East Germany had a huge wall that they put in. The Soviet Union actually put a wall in the 1950s to stop interflow of West and East Germany. Okay, so now move on forward 30 some odd years, almost 40 some odd years, and here we are in 2019, and listen to what the current president, that would be President Donald Trump, who is the current Republican GOP conservative president, right? So he's the standard bearer of conservatism within the United States. Listen to what he says about walls. Take a listen.
I'm fighting very hard for border security, so important. I've already started building the wall. We've built large sections, and we're fixing up a lot of other sections that are a mess. But the fact is, we need the wall. The Democrats know it. Everybody knows it. It's only a game when they say you don't need the wall. You can look at their eyes and you can say, well, they're not telling the truth. They want to try and do anything possible to hurt us because of the fact it's politics. I understand that. I don't even hold it against them, except you should always put your country first. And they're not doing that. They're putting politics first. We have to build the wall. It will get built. We're going to complete it. A lot of progress has been made. Watch what happens.
So real quick, there is no new wall being built. Donald Trump is lying. Second of all, he is building or rebuilding segments of the wall that were damaged or that needed repair. Okay, so he is doing that. But it's kind of weird to see the 1980s GOP conservative, who's the birth of conservatism, who is literally worshipped within the conservative circles, Ronald Reagan, talk about walls, and now you're listening to Donald Trump talk about walls. It's ironic. But I went into the archives and I kind of looked at some other stuff that Ronald Reagan was talking about at that time, considering the fact of immigration and stuff like that. Now remember, the Conservative Party was trying to bring Hispanic voters within their circles in the 1980s. So they were very pro-immigrant. So it's weird, because I got to show you this other footage. You got to listen, you got to look at Ronald. This is all 1980s. Remember, this is all GOP, and we're talking about Ronald Reagan. This is the Lord Savior of the Conservative Party. Listen to him talk about immigration here in this clip here.
I think the time has come that the United States and our neighbors, particularly our neighbor to the south, should have a better understanding and a better relationship than we've ever had. And I think that we haven't been sensitive enough to our size and our power. They have a problem of 40 to 50% unemployment. Now, this cannot continue without the possibility arising with regard to that other country that we talked about, of Cuba and what it is stirring up, of the possibility of trouble below the border, and we could have a very hostile and strange neighbor on our border. Rather than making them or talking about putting up a fence, why don't we work out some recognition of our mutual problems, make it possible for them to come here legally with a work permit, and then while they're working and earning here, they pay taxes here. And when they want to go back, they can go back, and they can cross and open the border both ways by understanding their problems. This is the only safety valve right now they have with that unemployment that probably keeps the lid from blowing off down there. And I think we could have a fine relationship, and it would solve the problem you mentioned also.
Ronald Reagan would have been laughed out of the GOP in the modern day right now, making statements like that. It's amazing to me how far right this Republican Party has gone. And he was talking about in that clip, talking about making fences. And anyway, the reason why I put those clips in, because I want you to understand where I'm going at with this, okay? So I think Ronald Reagan brought up a good point. And I think this is a consensus that both sides can agree on. I want you to listen to what my idea is. First of all, I'm going to be upfront, okay? I think that we need to have a tax, okay? And when I mean a tax, we need to have a tax of every individual. And when I say a tax, I don't mean an American taxpayer tax. I mean anyone that's coming into the country tax. So let me break down the numbers for you, because I think it's very important, okay? So let's break down the numbers. So the U.S. gets 75 million international guests that come into the United States every single year. They get 12 million undocumented aliens living in the United States presently right now that they know are here. There's approximately another 20 million that they think is actually still living here, okay? There's 44,728,721. I got to the T that come in every single year through ports, through all different types of means. Okay, you have another 1.5 million Americans that are seeking asylum via visa DACA recipients. So check this out. So this is my idea. So you put all those numbers together. You got a lot of people. Okay. What if we were to impose a tax on every individual that was to come into the United States? And this is how we do it. Say the tax was $2.50 to get into the United States and $2.50 to leave the United States. But when you enter the United States, you pay the $5. So basically you pay $5 in total to come into the United States through the border, okay? That tax and that revenue with the numbers that I just gave you, right, would equal 666,143,000. So it's 666 million. Let's just put it that way. Now, people come in and out of the border 5 or 6 times a week. So if you were getting that tax revenue at 666 million times 5 per week, you know how many billions of dollars of revenue that you can gain to control the border. This makes both parties happy, right? Allow people to come into the United States, charge a tax, fingerprint every single person, be able to locate every single person, tell any person that's coming in within the United States that you can work here as long as you pay taxes and that you pay this stipend fee. Now, the individuals that are already in the United States, this is my suggestion. Do a penalty, $100, $150 on all individuals that are in here. Okay? Gain revenue that way. Individuals that are here that have children, give them amnesty. You go, wait a minute, you're going to give them amnesty? Yes, amnesty. Guess who else gave them amnesty? Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan gave 20 million people amnesty in the 1980s. Why don't we do that now? Okay? With that revenue, the Republicans can use it for whatever they want. That garners the fees and stuff. If he wants to build portions of the wall on the U.S. border, he can do it. He now has the revenue to do it, right? Democrats ain't going to like that, but hey, why not? I think that's a good thing to do because that's how you're going to generate revenue. That's how you're going to make revenue. So I think it's a good idea to do that. Now, look, you go, Steve, nah, man, you're talking about another tax. There's no way we're going to do that. Remember, we're not taxing you. We're taxing people that are coming into the United States. You have, like I told you, you have 75 million international guests that come into the United States every single year. We have what's called, okay, so when you buy an airport ticket, right, you already pay a tax. You pay an airport fee, right? It's $30-some. And then you pay say you come in through ship. Say you're on a cruise ship. You go on the cruise ship, you pay what's called a port tax or a levy tax, right? Which is like $60 or $70 if you've ever been on a cruise or whatever. So why don't you just add a $5 tax to every international person that's coming in, every undocumented immigrant that's coming in, charge them a tax and a fee, get them fingerprinted so you know where they are, who they're working with, and then the documented, undocumented immigrants are coming in that are already here, the 44 million that I mentioned that are already, or the 40 some odd million that are here, have them pay a penalty and just give them amnesty. That's the best way to handle this. And it gives the Republicans the revenue they want to build whatever they want. It allows the Democrats to not feel that immigrants are being picked on or whatever. So anyway, what do you guys think? I mean, this is something that I think would work. I think it's fair to do. I think all sides could at least somewhat have come in conjunction with something like that because it's something that could work. So we need to see. I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys comment. Tell me what you guys think. And let's see what happens. I think something like that would be pretty good. Now, this was actually proposed at one time before, And it didn't really get anywhere, but I think it would be good because we have such partisanship. But I think, what do you guys think? Tell me what you think. Make a comment. Tell me if that's a good idea or did I lose my rocker? Anyway, I will holler at you guys. Thank you for watching segment 1. Make sure you stay tuned for segment 2. I'll see you on the other side.